Phantom Sounds Production. What up, sound?
If you are on the show, go ahead and hit that plus sign. If you are on the show, go ahead and hit that plus. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Red Room Talk, y'all. You can find us here every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm your host, Jen. The Red Room Talk is a show about love, intimacy, and interpersonal relationships, including self, to erase different social stigmas. We are here to have candid discussions and cut through the stigmas to show that in the end, no matter your background, we all have commonalities when it comes to matters of the mind and the heart. Nothing is off the table in the Red Room Talk. Y'all, this is not only the season 6 premiere, but this is the 1-year anniversary of being featured, y'all. The Red Room started out an idea and a single conversation between a group of friends from different backgrounds, connecting in a world divided. There's too many to name, but to those of you who have helped cultivate ideas, and to each and every one of you who encourages me, and to all of you who show up every week, without you, there is no Red Room Talk. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. So for last episode, if you missed us, it was 3 weeks ago. I know y'all have been off, getting myself healthy. But if you missed us, go ahead and click that YouTube link in my profile and subscribe. But this week, we're going to come back to our last topic with a part 2 and discuss men and women with the topic toxic masculinity versus toxic femininity. Tonight in the Red Room, we have an all-star cast. We have Wancho Number, and QOD's Queen Feisty. Let's find out how the panel feels about the toxic side to the opposite sex. Y'all, please stick around to the end. We do need the audience's help this episode later in the show, so don't go anywhere. Before we get started, all that I ask is you keep your mind open and your language clean. First things first, I'm going to let the guests in the box, and then we will get started.
Wait, it's necessary. Oh, dang, I ain't know you put me up here. Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? He ain't say coming in hot or nothing. You see how she did me? Watch out.
What did I do? What did I do? Did I miss something?
I was singing Anniversary by Tony.
It's an anniversary. Or something like that. But everybody, y'all, this is the 1 year anniversary episode. I'm so grateful to have all of y'all here. This is definitely a special episode because it's also the season 6 premiere, y'all. But of course, first, before we get started, G-Way, I do want to give you a special thank you. You've definitely been the best co-host I could ask for. Listen, don't you start crying because I already want to cry. You know I'm a crier, okay? I'm a crier. So don't start, okay? Don't start, okay? But no, I definitely appreciate having you here. Look, it's been a year of growth. To see the first episode where we started at and to here we are now is just phenomenal. To see all the people that we have here every week is really beautiful, and I appreciate you. And to the rest of y'all, there are definitely too many to name. But Wancho Number, Buki Baby, King of Diamonds was who helped cultivate this in the very beginning. I appreciate all of y'all. Bell Gang, to shout out a few. Real Sister, you come every week. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all who do show up every week. So I just want to express my gratitude. So I'm going to go ahead and let the lady go ahead and introduce herself first because we are polite here in the Red Room Talk. So, Queen, go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know anything you got going on. And a special shout out to Dreams in the comments for getting his top badge. Definitely proud of you, man.
Big shout out.
Salute, everybody in the stream. Thank you, Jen, again for having me here. Also, I am QOD Queen Feisty, the Queen of Dreams. I usually stream every day, like late nights, 11 to whenever in the morning, but most definitely Friday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for Dream Cloud After Dark, and then also Sundays for my Soulful Sundays for praise and worship. So make sure y'all come, tap in, let go of the drama of the week before, let go, let God, and then, just proceed to the forwarding week. Also, again, salute to KOD, aka Dreams, in the building for his top badge, getting that yesterday. That is the king of my family. I'm very proud. So salute to that. And again, salute to you, Jen, for having me here again. I appreciate it. G-Way, Number, salute to y'all.
I guess I did you right. I want your number, you guys. You can find me anytime during the week in the mornings, from 7 to 8. In the evenings, usually from 5 p.m. to whenever Eastern. You can also find me on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Pour It On. It's a feature show here on the app. We do a lot. We do painting with acrylic pour technique. If you ever want to be a guest, go on, tap in with me, and we'll get you on the show. Other than that, you'll catch me with G-Way on Wednesdays for sports talk. We got time for that. Is that 9 on Wednesday? 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah, come check us out, y'all. Move to the panel.
Definitely. And if you don't know me, you better get to know me because it's G-Way no way. Y'all catch me here every Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also catch me tomorrow for the premiere of Last from the Throne with Florida's Finest. I'll be jumping off at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, Hood Feud Season 2 on Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, you can catch me on Tales from the Hood with Pit Bully at 8 o'clock, as well as the Sports Block, which we'll be bringing and premiering back this coming up Wednesday. Me, Wancho, Deuce, and Mo B. Fellas, if y'all like sports, that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to be talking about. And Thursday, you can catch me on the longest running musical showcase show on this app with King of Diamonds on Getting Lit. So make sure y'all pull up. There's a lot going on. New content coming every week. Shout out to the queens in the building and shout out to the kings in the building. All good vibes and positive energy.
Well, hello, everybody. I am the host, Jen and Juice, the hostess with the mostest. Yes, y'all, this is the 1 year anniversary, so I definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming. But you can find me here every what? I didn't hear y'all say it. Hold on, I got to unmute her because I didn't hear y'all say it. Every Saturday. Eastern Standard Time, y'all. If you don't find me Saturdays, you can usually find me around 8 p.m. or so. up until I guess I decided to get off. But also you can find me every Thursday on as one of the judges. Saturday, as one of the judges on the Getting Lit Studios production, Getting Lit. And then we do have coming up. I'm trying to heal y'all. I just had surgery, so I'm still trying to heal y'all. I'm just coming back for y'all. I came back for y'all, but I'm gonna come back with Jenny Springer, which is coming up here shortly, y'all. So stay tuned, y'all. It is coming. I promise you. I'm just trying to heal y'all. But other than that, y'all just tap in with me. Please go subscribe to my YouTube and go follow me on Instagram, y'all. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, y'all ready? All right. Gender roles are the behaviors men and women exhibit in the private and public realm. They are the socio-cultural expectations that apply to individuals on the basis of their assignment to a sex category, aka male or female. Usually, individual sex is determined by how their privates look at birth. Since the 70s, the feminists in particular made a distinction between sex and gender. The prescriptive nature of social assigned gender roles has been challenged. More recently, the prescriptive nature of socially assigned sex roles has also been contested. So I want to know, where do you think traditional gender roles came from? Where do you think traditional gender roles came from?
Anybody first?
Go ahead if you want to.
I think they come from, wherever they established that at the very beginning of the time, when you got man and woman and who's going to do whatever in the household. And that thing just kind of trickled down through the years, generations and generations of people, following that blueprint that was given to us, as far as men supposed to be out in the field working and bringing them home the money and things like that. The woman is supposed to be at home cooking and raising kids and taking care of the household and things of that nature. And, you have your dad, your mom, those people bringing that stuff from their parents, which is then being transformed to you. And then, the cycles just continue. You're passing it down to your kids.
Definitely. I have to agree with that 100%. I think it started with pretty much society. Like I said, that's what we were taught. That's how we was raised. That's what we saw. We can't do with nothing but what we saw as raised. Like he said, men was taught to go out and get the bacon, and women was taught to season and cook the bacon. What I'm saying? That's just how it is with society. Even though now society is definitely changing and the roles are definitely changing these days to a ridiculous standard, in my opinion, because I was raised traditionally. So it's really getting kind of confusing with these days and times in society. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, me originally, I think it starts with definitely society from the beginning. The man's got to be the provider.
I would definitely say that it comes from society, one, two, also the Bible. There's a lot of things that come along with that, and when you look at it in a broader spectrum, there's certain, how can I say, roles that need to be established, but the roles that are established are only because that's what we were taught. That's what came from before, like the man runs the house, the woman's supposed to be supportive. So I would say from society, and also from just lineage from where we come from.
So I definitely agree that it's from society, but I believe it all starts somewhere. It started at home. I'm sure just because of just how woman is made to be the homemaker, and I think just being a woman, you're the the mothering type, you're the more nurturing. So I feel like it just kind of manifested itself. So people started to decide okay, because you are the one who gives birth, and so you automatically are the one who's supposed to be home. Men are the ones, because you have the muscle, you are stronger by nature. So it's like, you're the breadwinner, you're the strength one. It's like, so it just how people, just decided that because men are the stronger sex as far as masculinity, that they're the providers. They are the ones doing the harder work. They're the ones working the tougher jobs. So I feel like a lot of, and then biblically too, I definitely agree with that, like, and I know that I had read an article that said that it kind of was cultivated like in the 50s of how, like, they wrote an article on how the family circle is supposed to look and how gender roles are supposed to be. But like nowadays in society, like, I feel like it's really switching to where people are deciding that traditional gender roles are just not for them. And it really isn't defined by something certain as how you really want your family circle to look like. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that it started with, just old school values, like, how that looks in, like, definitely biblically, because they thought, the woman is to, basically listen to her man and her husband. And so I think that's kind of how that was kind of cultivated for, today's society. But now we're so, liberal that, we've really shaped and molded to what things look like now, that it was really non-traditional. So, but do y'all have anything more to say about that?
I think we all covered that.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
So if y'all are just pulling up, that's okay. We have so much more to come. You can find us here every Saturday on the Red Room Talk at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, y'all. We just discussed where do you think traditional gender roles come from, but now I want to know about a specific instance. This generation is witness to a collision between traditional masculinity and a new wave, one that values intimacy, caregiving, and nurturing. But many men have spent their lives under immense pressure to stifle emotional expression of any kind, and we're learning there's a cost. Men are suffering higher rates of life-threatening disease, depression, and death. Simply put, the suppression of emotional expression in men is damaging their health and well-being. The long-standing rules of how to walk, talk, and sound like a man in America. Boys 4 and 5 years old are told to shake it off, man up, don't be a crybaby, and worst of all, don't be a girl. This is because society devalues any form of emotional expression traditionally deemed to be feminine. So I want to know, what does it mean to man up? And in what ways is this phrase helpful, and what ways is this phrase harmful, in your opinion?
Handle your business. Like, man up means handle your business. But we've learned, like we said, through society, that man up can also mean stop crying. Stop whining, stop acting like a female. Like grab a pair, grow a pair. At the end of the day, and it's crazy because we've been, I'm not going to say brainwashed, but we've been programmed for so long that men are not supposed to show that emotion or that weaker side. That it's crazy because men, you got a lot of men that need to release and show that side that can't. They can't because they're too scared of what society will think of them. They think they're less of a man or not as strong as they should be because they're more vulnerable and willing to show that weaker side. Which is crazy. Like, society is really crazy right now. Definitely.
Go ahead, Queen.
Wow, that's deep. Honestly, man up, because I'm a single mother and I raise my son. I sent him to his father because it becomes to a certain age that, women can teach the sensitive side to a young man, and teach them how to be sensitive, but then also women can teach them how to be strong. When it comes to saying man up, really grow a pair. Don't take no shit. Excuse me. Don't take no mess. And really don't wear your heart on your sleeve. That's, for me, that's what it means, like, man up. And this is my female perspective. But, you know, just man up. Do what you're supposed to do. Do what you need to do. But also, at the same time, women can't teach that to a man or to a young man. Me being, you know, the mother of a boy, I'm a boy mom. Like, you can't teach that, and teaching someone to do that, you might lead him on a path of destruction when it comes to saying man up. When it comes from a woman, when it comes from a man, and then you're showing that young man as a man what he's supposed to do and to man up, then man up.
I would say how it would help is it would help more so to say man up, like when it comes to like sports or something like that. Like you trying to give your team a pep talk or whatever, and you're trying to get them back into the game. You might say man up, so you know you can get them to that next stage in the game so that you can win that game. But on a negativity tip, I would say man up would be more so along the lines of, yeah, like you said, telling your kid like pull up their britches or, you know, get it together or whatever, which also could come off as a negative thing because they're expressing themselves and you're basically taking that feeling from them and telling them they're not allowed to feel that feeling. But I see someone said, what is society? Society is us people that's living here every day, breathing, evolving the culture year after year. We are society.
We are society.
And until we, as a people, you know, start learning how to address each other, that's what you're going to have. You're going to have people telling their kids, man up, or, you know, when they scrape their knee, or they're man up when something hurts their feelings and they're crying about that thing that's hurting their feelings.
Yeah, I'm bad about that as a father. I need to stop. I definitely tell my boy, hey, man up. Shut the tears up.
So earlier I seen someone say that it really like deters like male expressing vulnerability. But when I think of like man up, I think of like, I know the only way I can really look at it in a positive is like, say you're talking to one of your boys and, you know, maybe, I'm just going to use an instance that he's not doing his lady right. You know what I'm saying? He's not treating her right or something. Like, man, you need to man up and treat her right or something like that. I can see that as a positive. Like you're uplifting the man and you're trying to get him to treat, you know, his woman right, or to like open his eyes in this, or in an instant like that. Or even like Wancho said, like in sports where you're trying to teach, you know, like, you know, teammates and, you know, how to be a part of a team and to, you know, to push yourself. But where definitely I see it as a negative, I do look at it as a negative, especially towards, if you think of like something towards children, like say, you know, your son falls and scrapes his knee and you're like, you know, be a big boy, you know, you're a big man, or, you know what I'm saying? Like you're trying to, you know, downplay, because in that moment, like, yes, you know, to tell him not to cry, that's actually strength. So to not allow him his vulnerability in that moment, or that to feel that pain, really is counterintuitive. You know what I'm saying? You're teaching him that he's not allowed to express emotion. And so then later in life, you're going to be repairing a broken child inside of adult body. You know, so really be careful what you say, especially to, you know, devalue his emotions in that moment. It's really, like I said, counterintuitive. So, yeah, strong men definitely cry. I agree with you, Miss Divine, here in the comments. So to like tell, especially a young child, like you're giving an impression as they grow older that, you know, it's not okay to cry or when something hurts. So it really does like devalue that, you know, that feeling of emotion. And it really is counterintuitive for society, because then later on, he's not going to feel emotions towards, you know, say he's in a relationship and, you know, he's not feeling and he's not expressing to his woman, and he's not allowing himself to express emotion, because all his life when he's tried to express emotion, he's been told you're a big boy, or you're this, or like I said, man up, or whatever it is, the expression that you tend to use. Do you have anything else to say, anybody? No? Okay. But definitely, y'all, please be speaking in the comments, y'all. I'll try to catch your comments as much as I can. I definitely try to involve all of y'all. So definitely give me your guys' answers here in the comments. But for all of you who are hitting the box, this is a featured show. So at the end, anything you want to weigh on, I will let someone in the box towards the end, so you guys can weigh in on the show. But just hold off just a moment, all right? But if y'all are just pulling up, that's okay. You have not missed much. We still have a lot more to discuss, y'all. You can find us here every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Red Room Talk, y'all. This is the 1 year anniversary in the season 6 premiere, y'all. I'm so excited to have all of y'all here. But we just discussed, where do you think traditional gender roles come from? What does it mean to man up? And in what ways is this phrase helpful or harmful? But now I want to know a little more. What is toxic femininity and toxic masculinity? While toxic masculinity states that men should act tough, show no emotions, and reject anything considered feminine, toxic femininity pressures women to be quiet, nurturing, submissive, and attractive. Womanhood, in this instant, is defined in a very shallow manner that objectifies and harms women and also men. So I'm going to do this next question a little differently, y'all, okay? It's something I've never done, but I need help from the audience here. If you have ever heard any of these phrases, I need you to put a juice box in the comments. And to my panel, I'm going to need you to raise your hand, okay?
Okay.
Real men don't cry. Act like a lady. All men are dogs. Bro, don't be a meow. Real women have curves. She needs to go eat a sandwich.
I've heard that.
Dude's a simp. You need to get you a man.
I've said that one.
Stop being such a girl. I'm not like the other guys. This is probably more for the ladies, but she had a C-section. She took the easy way out.
I've heard that at the barbecue.
I'm like,
At the barbecue, I heard that one.
a woman belongs in the kitchen. She look like a hoe.
She looking like a man.
You're being soft.
SOF capital T.
Take her swimming on the first date.
My favorite thing to do. I want to see the real you. I want to see the real you. We going swimming.
I won't date a man unless he's got money. And he's got to be at least 6 foot to talk to me. Now, the reason I ask these questions is to show how prevalent toxic masculinity and toxic femininity is in our society. These are things that we hear all the time. You know, it was kind of an experiment for me, because it's crazy how much you really hear these things on a daily basis. So we are hearing these toxic things all day long, and we wonder why society is the way it is. You know, we have all these things that you don't even realize are toxic. Like, yes, it really doesn't sound, real women have curves. It doesn't sound toxic, does it? But then you are taking away from women who are not curvy. Because just because you are not curvy does not mean you are not a woman. You know, these things, you cannot take from one and give to another and say that we are equal. You can't do that, because that is toxic. That's toxic. You know, so how did that make you feel, just seeing that? Like, to see all those juice boxes going in, and I basically seen you almost raise your hand on every instance.
It made me
How did that make you feel?
I feel toxic right now.
That part.
I feel really toxic right now. I heard at least 98% of that I've heard, and 80% of it I've said.
And then I want to ask you a question. Is there any of these instances that you've ever heard, or is there any examples that you've heard or realized later, or now just hearing these that are toxic? Any phrases of the sort that you've heard that are toxic that you've heard?
My favorite
The
line.
curves, a real woman got curves. That I didn't really think that would be something that would be toxic, but after you explained it, you know, diminishing another woman's body size and shape and things like that, I can see where that's coming from, because we all come in different shapes and sizes, number one, whether it be man or woman. So some of us are going to be bigger, some of us are going to be smaller, some of us are going to be muscular, some of us are going to be skinny, you know what I mean? And to hear that, it's just like, dang, like, you really are taking it from a demographic of women, because you're trying to say that if they're not this, then they're not a woman.
Right. And mine was opposite. I definitely said out of my mouth, you need to eat a sandwich. I feel real bad about that. Like, dang, I never looked at it from the opposite, the other perspective, or the outside looking in. And I used to say that all the time, but I never thought nothing of it. But yeah.
I actually, as a curvy woman, like, one thing I've always prided myself on is never taking away from another woman. I would never say, like, and that sounds good, like, 'cause as a curvy woman, like, real women have curves, like, oh, I'm a real woman, but I would never want to put another woman down to lift me up. You know what I'm saying? And even, like I said, even as a curvy woman, I've seen very beautiful, slender women right there in them comments, right there. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of really beautiful, slender women, and I would never say that they're not a real woman because they don't have curves, and I'm only focusing on that one just because it's one that, you really wouldn't think to be toxic. It's simple things like that we really feed society, we feed ourselves to that, that you don't even realize that you're saying or that you're doing that can be toxic to other people. So, just by saying that, experiment, and to see all of you, so many juice boxes in the comments, just to see how prevalent it is, like, really was kind of shocking. I mean, shocking and not at the same time, you know what I mean?
Right.
Do you have anything to say, Queen?
To answer your question, every statement and every question that you asked, if we heard, all of that is toxic. All of it is toxic. It's prejudice. It's judgmental, because you're pushing off judgment on someone else of how you think and how you perceive and look at them. I myself have said, if you're not 6 foot, I feel like I can beat you up because I'm only 5'2". So if you ain't 6 foot or taller, I don't feel like you can protect me. So I'm gonna feel like I can beat you up and we can fight. Exactly, it's sexist as well. But it's definitely, all of it is definitely toxic, and it's very judgmental and prejudiced and sexist. And, some people may call it standards, or what they choose to allow or accept, or what their potential, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's just what they're looking for, and that's what gets you into messed up relationships and situations.
Like, even one that I've kind of heard more lately, and even though I thought it was kind of funny, but it's really not, but, like, you got to be two something to do something. But that's one that I've kind of heard lately that I was like, y'all is just coming up with some toxic things.
I've never heard that one before. You gotta be something.
But even like having a preference is okay. You know what I'm saying? Having a preference is okay, but to take away from someone else because of a preference, or to shun other women or to shun other men because of your preference, which is fine for you to have a preference, but not to take away or to even insult someone else. Like, I've even had, as a woman, have other men almost put me in, it's like you're putting me in a competition that I didn't sign up for. You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. So I really enjoyed that question, y'all. But so if you have, do you guys have anything else to say? All right, y'all. So if y'all are just pulling up, you can find us here every Saturday on the Red Room Talk, y'all. At Eastern Standard Time. You have not missed it all. We do still have more to discuss. We just discussed, where do you think traditional gender roles come from? What does it mean to man up? And in what ways is that helpful or harmful? And examples of toxic masculinity and femininity. Now where to go from here. Society does not support the people within it. The yin-yang symbol shows how opposites are inseparable. We need both the divine masculine and the divine feminine to feel whole and balanced. Together we can identify the problems, embrace our shadows, feel through pain, and advocate feminine stories and masculine stories and values. We can create a culture that honors and sanctifies femininity and masculinity equally. With persistence, we can move towards a culture of safety, balance, and wholeness. But how do we get there? So my next question is, how do you think that we heal and rid society of toxic masculinity and toxic femininity in our society? How do you think we begin to heal that?
By not passing judgment on others at all. I think that would be the first step that I feel like we should do. Not just stop judging other people. Worry about yourself first and foremost, because that's where it starts at the end of the day. It's tough though. It's definitely rough. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying it can't be done, but it really needs to be done. Because like I said, especially with a lot of those phrases that you were saying, that I didn't even, like Juancho said, I didn't even have no idea. Like I'm helping the cause. So it starts with oneself and worried about oneself, and stop putting people in a box and forcing your preferences on other people.
She's fine.
Yeah, she slipped out the juice box. Somebody gets it.
Yeah.
I think it does get a little wet in the juice box, y'all, but
I don't. It's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like racism. Like, is it ever gonna go away? It's one of those things that is going to constantly continue, because I feel like someone's mind frame is still going to be on that level of toxic masculinity or toxic femininity, because you're like I said, these things are being programmed and they're being passed down generation to generation. So yeah, it does start with self, but you can only control what you're doing. You can't really control what the next one is doing. So at the end of the day, like, all you can do is your part, and hope that other people will try to change their mentality, and in hopes that we can turn this narrative into a positive.
So in the comments, I seen aggressive gentleman said human beings aren't qualified to correct other human beings' bad behavior, and I actually fully disagree. We may not be qualified, but as a person, if you stay quiet about the things that matter, then yes, you're not going to admit change. But it takes one small stone and to cast into a water to cause a ripple, and one ripple can cause a wave. So I don't necessarily believe that with your belief, no, there would be no change. With your belief system, there would be no change, because if you have just not having the belief that you can admit change, of course, there will be no change. But if you set out and you are a good human and you do unto others and you treat others well, then it does have an effect. It's like paying it forward. I don't believe that you can't admit change. It takes one person to cause a chain of events. So I don't believe for 1 second that you can't admit change or behavior. Like, you can't make someone do something, but you can encourage. I know, even for myself, losing weight. When I would lose weight, people around me would want to lose weight because they would see that I did something, and so they were also they were also encouraged, or they were what's the word I'm looking for? They felt I can't think of it. Huh?
Pressure?
No, not pressure. Inspired. Thank you. they felt inspired to also lose weight. So like things like in that instance, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you can inspire other people by, yes, motivated, also a good word, but you can inspire other people by being good with yourself. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to get back in. I don't see her in the box. Maybe have her leave and come back. But, you can definitely inspire other people with your actions by being a good person and doing good unto others. So I don't believe that just because, that we cannot cause a chain of events. She can't get
I wasn't saying that you can't cause a chain of events. I was just simply saying, like, I can only control myself.
Well, that's true. But I mean, but you
like,
can inspire other people. You can inspire other people by creating a change in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like losing weight, or someone who quits smoking, or eating better, or things of that nature. Thank you.
Your tag has been tagging today, Heavy.
I'm gonna wait on to see if Queen's gonna be able to jump back in, but let me see what he just said. You can inspire people for everything if you have good intentions. Agree. True, because how do I think fads catch on? Of course. But if y'all are just pulling up, y'all, you're late. You haven't missed everything. We still do have a little bit more to discuss. But if you're late, that's okay. You can find us here every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Red Room Talk. Can I get y'all to say Saturday? Saturday? You gotta say it like that or it doesn't count. Oh, I think she here.
I'm waiting to hear. I'm waiting to hear Wancho's one time.
Wancho might not never be able to do that Saturday. I promise you. I might not.
I've been waiting a while to catch Wancho.
If there is a lady in the audience that would like to weigh in on that, I definitely, you can jump in the box if you would like to weigh in on
Practice makes perfect, princess. Maybe we ain't practicing today though.
But if there is a lady that would like to jump in the box for this next question, I definitely would appreciate you. Anyways, we just discussed where do you think traditional gender roles come from? What does it mean to man up? In what ways is this phrase helpful or harmful? Examples of toxic masculinity and femininity. Lastly, how do you think we heal and rid society? Never mind. Examples of toxic masculinity and femininity. Lastly, how do you think we heal and rid society of toxic masculinity and toxic femininity? But now I want to get personal. Anyone can jump in the box at this point, okay? Anybody. So I want to know, how has toxic masculinity and femininity affected you through your own personal life experiences?
It's affected me with the toxic masculinity. It's affected me to the point where, like, I literally, especially if I'm in a relationship, and I'm a father too, but if I'm in a relationship, I would literally try to kill myself. Like, no matter how, I get 3 jobs, 5 jobs, because I'm determined to be the provider. Like, that was instilled in me by my grandfather. Like, a real man ain't no man if he's not, putting food on the table, keeping the lights on, roof over our head, and I feel like it was pounded in my head so much that I feel like enough is never enough, and I really need to cut that out. I really do need to cut that out, because anybody that knows me knows that if it's about money, I'm 80-90% of the time I'm with it. I want more money. I want more hustle. I want more grind. And I need to learn to slow down and take notice and be happy for life, really.
I want to touch base on something. I can remember a time when I was a kid, and when my parents were still together, and my dad was trying to work with me in sports and stuff like that, and specifically basketball. Basketball was like I would play and I loved to play, but it wasn't my sport. You know what I'm saying? But my dad, he wanted me to play basketball so bad because that's what he had did as a kid growing up. So to appease my dad, play basketball, you know what I mean? And I just remember, like, yeah, I understand the build up of trying to get you prepared for the competition and things like that. But at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, don't be checking me like a grown man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a grown man, but you on the court body checking me and stuff like that, like I'm a grown man. So that in itself, you know, that used to like really irritate me, and it actually turned me away from wanting to play basketball. To be all honest, like it was like, man, I would make the team, and I would just make the team just to prove a point that I could make the team,
just to make him,
and then I would quit. Yeah, right. And then I would quit the team. Now my mom, on the other hand, even as most recently, I love her to death, but even as most as recently as this past summer. A lot of y'all don't know me, but I had got sick last year. After I got sick, I went back to work. A few weeks later, after being at work, I got laid off. I didn't even know what was coming. So after I got laid off, my mom's like, "You need to man up. You guys, you did this, that, and the third. You need to grow up." And I'm like, "Wait a minute here. Like, I was just sick, and I didn't ask to get laid off." You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I've been going to work every day. I'm if not picking up overtime when I can. I didn't ask for any of this. But in her mind, it was like I was a failure almost because I got laid off. I wasn't being a man because I got laid off. You know what I mean?
Like it was your fault.
Right. Like it was my fault. And anybody that knows me, like I does for mine. I does for mine. I love my kids. You know what I mean? I've come a long way. Some people that don't know me, at one point in time, I was even living out of my car. So I'm proud of where I am right now. So to hear that stuff coming from someone that's supposed to be your mom, like that's just like a whole, you know, bring downer, a Debbie Downer, if you will.
Man, I'm hearing that now from mine. That's crazy. That is crazy. So you brought that up.
Ms. Divine, welcome to the panel. Thank you for stepping up. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
So how has toxic masculinity or toxic femininity affected you through your personal life experiences?
I think I've seen it like in all aspects. My family, I grew up in a very traditional home, really traditional. My parents were married 50 some years, you know, and even though they were married that long, it was an extremely toxic place to be, where I would just cry and like, will somebody just leave, you know? And I think with growing up in such a toxic environment, it kind of pushed me away from really wanting to be in a relationship, you know, because I'm just like, I don't want it. I never wanted it to be that way. Now that I'm much older, I'm just like, I was tripping. But anyway, I just felt like, you know, I don't want to go through this same stuff that they're going through. I don't want it to always be a situation where the kids are always crying because the parents were tripping with each other. So, I think like even from a very young age, it just kind of put a stamp on my mind, like there's no reason to do this. There's no reason to be in a relationship with anyone because it's always going to end up being a horrible place to be.
Right. And it kind of makes you feel like after a while you learn it, because I was growing raised by my grandparents, and that was there was a lot of domestic violence, especially you know, after a Friday they get off, he get to drinking a little bit, like, oh, here we go, it's about to go down. And it really just burns on you, because at one point you're like, is this love? Like, if this is love, like I don't want this.
I don't want to see this. Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah.
I feel you on that. I really feel you on that.
So that's kind of how I grew up as a kid. So, like, even it's a little different too because there's a generation between me and my parents, and like that whole thing that some of my friends may have been experiencing with their parents. My parents are very, very old school from the South, so it was like a totally different mentality moving up to the Midwest and, being with older parents. So I don't know. It just kind of pushed me to a place where I didn't even really teach that to my daughter, really, because she didn't see it within me. And now it's just like she's a young woman, but it's still like I'm like, girl, you gonna do something or we're not? Can we get grandkids up in here? Can you get married so I can have some grandkids? But yeah, it's frustrating because it's like you can't stop that cycle,
Definitely, and then it's like this circle that if you don't heal it at some point, it's just going to keep repeating and manifesting for generations. Yeah. So for me, how toxic masculinity and femininity has affected me through my personal life experiences. First of all, just in relationships alone, being with men who are emotionally stunted. Who are unable to express emotion was very hard for me. Having a father who like really was toxic in himself. You know what I'm saying? Like my mother was really the breadwinner. My father was the one who really was at home most of the time. So it really also caused a hyper independence in me. So later on in getting into a relationship, it was really hard for me to let go of my independence and to allow myself to submit to my partner, because hyper independence and a relationship, those two cannot coexist. So I had to let down, that guard some and, take off that superwoman cape and allow my man to do things for me. You can't always be superwoman. You can't always do that and be in a relationship. Because what else, how can your man show you that he's a man if you are being the man yourself? You can't be the man and the woman. You can't be the man and the woman. You have to at some point, let yourself and allow yourself to allow a man to be a man and allow him to lead. And that's something that was really hard for me, you know what I'm saying, because of how my father was, and even how, my ex-husband, I was in an abusive relationship. And that in itself was toxic masculinity altogether. So being in an abusive relationship, and then, you know what I'm saying, it really hurt me later on to allow myself to submit to a man and to allow him to lead, because no, I'm an independent woman. I don't need no man. That was that. I don't want to have that bitter, view. So I had to really heal something in myself, start to heal those things in myself so I could have a healthy relationship. Allow my man to lead, because even in my marriage, he was, such toxic that I couldn't allow him to lead, because where were you going to lead me to? You know what I'm saying? So like those relationships, especially after like an abusive relationship, a healthy relationship is really tough. And I'm actually going to talk about that later in this season, about how to have a healthy relationship after being in a toxic one. So make sure y'all stay tuned for during this season, because we have a lot of things that I want to heal out here, because you don't realize how something even in your childhood or in late, later or earlier in life really affects, your outer experiences. Your family dynamic affects how you your later relationships. So, but definitely, even just as far as like how you heard earlier, real women have curves. Like, ooh, you would be, you're cute for a big girl, or if you was skinny, you'd be pretty, or things like that. To hear things like that, I've heard even just simple words like that. You know what I mean? Or like I said, being in interracial relationships, or having men who might like Caucasian women have come to me like, yeah, white women do it better. I said, don't you ever put me in a competition I didn't ask for, because I will never put another woman down for, to rise me. Don't you ever put another woman down to lift me up. Don't you ever do that, because I did not ask for that competition. All women are beautiful. All men are handsome in their own right. So don't ever take down one in the light of other. That's toxic. You know what I'm saying? So we have to heal those type of things. And even just, simple things that you say you don't realize on a daily basis that are toxic to your being, like the things that you feed yourself, the things we watch. We see toxic masculinity and femininity on TV all the time. The Real Housewives of wherever the heck they live. You know what I'm saying? Like those, you see women being catty to women and hurting other women and men sleeping with their best friend's girls, or things like that. You really don't realize our society is so just so oversaturated with toxicity that you really it has to start at home and with your children. To teach your children and talk to your children and to feed them good things. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean food, but I mean to talk to them in a way. When your son falls and scrapes his knee, it's okay to cry, baby. It's okay. Just let it out. And then we're going to move on after that. That's a way to say it in which it's not toxic. We're not going to say, you're a big boy, man up. You know what I'm saying? You're going to say, it's okay to cry, but when we're done crying, we're going to wipe ourselves off and we're going to get back up because we're strong. You know what I'm saying? So, you could say it in a way to where it's not toxic and still uplift your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be a good mother or you want to be a good parent, you have to think about those things and really change the trajectory. And it's never too late, you guys. Your child can be 7, 12, 13, and you can change today. You know what I'm saying? If you learn, when you know better, you do better. Do you get what I'm saying? So learning something today, you can start using this at home now. You know what I'm saying? So,
can I say one thing? I will also say for those y'all that have kids, be mindful of the things that's being said in school too, because that stuff is happening in school. And I know this because I just heard something at my school that I work at the other day where a teacher told a kid, "You want to be a man, right? And then go to the potty." That's not something that you should be telling no kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, encourage them to go use the bathroom or whatever, whether they be a boy or a girl. Encourage them to use the bathroom. Teach them how to use the bathroom. But don't tell them, if you want to be a man, you want to be a woman, you're going to use the potty. You want to be a big girl, you know what I mean? It's just not right. And I heard that, and I had to speak up and say something because I'm like, this kid's only like 7, and you're saying that to him. What do you think that's doing to him? And mind you, I'm dealing with special needs kids, so they already got stuff going on with them. You gonna say something that's not gonna help them?
Right. Excuse me. If y'all are just pulling up, you're definitely late. It's almost over, but don't fret. You can find us here every Saturday. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Red Room Talk, y'all. We discuss how do you think we heal and rid society of toxic masculinity and femininity. Also, how has toxic masculinity and femininity affected you through your personal life experiences. But we are now at my favorite. Excuse me. Hold on just a second.
My favorite.
We already have challenges. What'd you say? They already have challenges to face. That part. You can't sit there and tell a child something like that because they're going to repeat that to themselves later. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hear those things, and it's like verbal. Well, we said like verbal. They're going to hear that, and they're going to spew that to someone else. Like they're like sponges. Their minds are like sponges. But y'all, we are at my favorite part of the night, y'all. When you hear that sound, that means we are at our hot seat question segment, y'all. We are doing things a little different this season. Our hot seat question is now left up to the fate of the audience, y'all. I went to Instagram to ask our peers what they wanted to ask for this week's hot seat question. If you want your question to be featured on next week's episode, please make sure you go look out for that Instagram icon in my profile and follow me on Instagram and look out for that hot seat question post, y'all. Now is the time to enter in the comments who on the panel you want to answer tonight's question before I reveal it. And yes, that also includes me and my co-host. So y'all go ahead and enter in the comments, and whoever gets the most, they will be answering the question. So let's see those comments, y'all.
There's no one over there, Watcho.
We got two for Wanchos. We got two for Wanchos.
Wancho it is. Hey.
She's like, Wancho.
That's crazy.
Wancho. PG way.
That's crazy.
Who's PG way?
I mean, he's gotta be PG on the show. You know, we got another G way. Oh, it kind of. You know, I'm gonna go ahead because of tonight and how it's kind of worked out. We do only have 4 people on the panel. I'm gonna go ahead and let all of y'all answer. How about we do that? Since y'all trying to point at each other, we're just gonna do that, okay? Okay. This week, Red Room Sister wrote in and asked, what toxic traits do you yourself possess? And I'm not answering this question because I don't have to. No, I'm just kidding. That was a toxic trait showing right there. Okay, that was a toxic trait. Avoidance. Okay. But what toxic traits do you yourself possess?
Can I get an exposed for 1,000?
Okay, so I'll say what people say about me. I won't own up to it though. I won't own up to it because it's not really true, but it's partially facts. You know how you can have facts, but it not really be the truth of what somebody thinks. So they say because of my zodiac sign, I'm a Libra, that Libras lie. And I say I'm a great storyteller.
That's a lie. You lying to yourself.
Here's a story. I believe you're lying.
You lying to yourself, girl.
I just tell great stories. I can't help if you believe it.
If I wouldn't get pinged on YouTube, I'd be like, why you always lying? Stop lying. Oh my God. Okay, don't make me like it. Next.
Look, there's a difference.
Well, he was talking about the sandwich thing, but I never heard the sandwich thing. For me, I used to say like she needs some cornbread or something like that. She need to be cornbread fed or something if she was skinny. But again, that was something that I didn't know that was me being toxic when I was saying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I guess for my preference, I was like, okay, like this person skin and bones or whatever. Can we put some meat on your bones? Let's give them some cornbread or whatever. And now I'm realizing that ain't the right way to go about it.
It's not preference.
It's not preference because
if you're saying something that's harming someone else in your preference, like he can have a preference and just say, I actually prefer women who, you know, are more curvy. That's a preference. But saying, oh yeah, I can't date her because she need to eat a cookie. You know what I'm saying? And I can even say that I've said that about someone who I don't like. You're like, man, you need to go eat a cookie. Like, yeah, sorry, but you know, I'm sorry talking about my thin women because I love all of y'all. But you know, in that moment when you don't like somebody and she a little slender, you know, I'm gonna pull my weight real quick and put an elbow in here or something. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, you said some things that you didn't exactly mean, like tick, 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 tick. Yeah. But yeah. But I think for myself, let's look at the time, y'all. It is past. But no, one thing for me, I like I said earlier, is just that hyper independence, not allowing someone to do things for me that's really tough for me. And it was like almost at one time, it was almost like debilitating. Like I couldn't allow someone because that would show that I'm weaker, right? Because of like things that I've been through, like me allowing someone to do something it was like a sign of weakness to me. Like if I show weakness, then this man's gonna abuse me too. You know what I'm saying? Especially having been in an abusive relationship, like I was really almost blaming other men for the crime of another. You know what I'm saying? And it really, it could have very well ruined my relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really like dig inside myself and say, there's things that we need to fix. And, very much I'm in therapy. I have no problem saying that. So these things can be, these things can be healed. And don't necessarily have to be in therapy if that's not what you choose. But that's very much what I chose, because I wanted to make sure that when I found that man who I wanted to be his wife and I wanted to be his children's mother, I wanted to make sure that I deserved him. I didn't want to punish another man for what another man did to me. So I made sure that I did something to better myself so I could deserve that kind of man. If you want to be a high quality woman, then you have to do the work. And if you want a high quality man, you have to put in the work to deserve that kind of man. You can't just expect to be and do whatever. Like, I hate that mindset of, oh, they just are how they are. That is toxic. That is toxic. Oh, I just am how I am. That's just me. You either, oh, this is my favorite one that a lot of people don't realize is toxic. If you can't accept me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Toxic as hell. Toxic as hell. And you don't even realize, because why should someone have to accept your worst all the time just to get your best? No. You should have to heal those things inside yourself to deserve that person. But do you have anything else to? No, I know I do this all the time, G-Way. I don't think you answered. I don't think he did, and I don't think I'm wrong. Yeah, we're not doing this. This is the 1 year anniversary, and you are my co-host, so I need you to answer with your toxic quality, because that was toxic as hell. Because usually you played off of me forgetting. You played off of me forgetting.
Be quiet.
What's my toxic trait? Oh man.
So many. No, just kidding.
I believe it's right in your face. It's right in your face. G-Way or no way. That's my toxic trait.
Oh wow.
That's my toxic trait. Like I feel like I need to stop because I need to remind myself that I can't always be correct. I can't be right. Things don't always have to go my way. I'm so used to leading that I don't let others lead me in the right direction because I'm too busy trying to get in front and lead the pack in the wrong direction possible. And I'm learning, and I'm slowly but surely learning that it's not all about how I think it should go. Sometimes it's better to realize that somebody else's vision could be the path that you need to take that you just don't know. And it's not always about how I want it to go and how I want it to be. And I'm definitely learning that, and it's crazy, I'm learning that through tag, like letting other people get out there and do things and do shows and come up with their own ideas and, take it, like it's weird now, like I'm taking the pressure off myself.
I can even say you being on the show. I've seen you grow just being on the show, from the very episode of being unable to express things to now seeing you be able to answer questions, even as tough as this one. You were trying to avoid it, but I wasn't going to let you. But, just to see even him as a person grow in this year, y'all, this is the 1 year anniversary of being featured. So I definitely appreciate all y'all for being here. But, I don't want to tell you that I recognize that. I definitely see, you being more open from the first episode that you were on until now. I definitely recognize that.
And I thank you for that, because that was a big, major turnaround in my life, because I didn't have a place to where I could go be open about the things I've been through, especially on other subjects like relationships, love, domestic violence. I wasn't like that on my stream at all. They would wonder how I became who I became, and I got here and I just got comfortable because I felt like every week on a Saturday I can come express myself and don't have to be judged, and I can open up and show that other side of me. So I thank you for that, Jen, for real. Like, this has really been a blessing for me.
Yeah. Man, can I just say it has been a year of, like, I really want to cry right now, but I'm not going to cry. But it has really been, I'm going to cry. It has been a year of growth. I've been through a lot in this last year. And people really have no idea what I've been through in this damn it, Mom. But I've been through a lot in this last year to get here. People have no idea they say you have no idea how much violence it takes to be this soft. And that really kind of coincides for me because I've been through a lot of things that I've had to fight through. I've fought through, medical things. I've fought through, personal, drama with people who wanted to deter me from getting here and they didn't believe in me. People who tried to, sabotage, what I had going on. So I didn't even know that this was going to be possible. So to be here, and even now, y'all, I just had surgery 2 weeks ago. I probably should not be here right now, but I am. Because for all of y'all, because I know that I missed it. I missed being here. So I know, I had a lot of people like, man, when you coming back? So sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself, for the greater good of others. So I definitely, I love each and every one of y'all that come here every week to be part of the show because it helps me too. It was something I didn't realize that I needed to express things too. So.
Quantum Sounds Production. What up, sound?